Right now at 6, authorities in southwest Missouri respond to a rollover crash on the Oklahoma-Missouri state line.
And we are dry to start the day, but we're tracking thunderstorm chances heading into the afternoon and evening. A look at your forecast coming up.
Well, sad news from Hollywood. Actor Robert Redford has died at age 89.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Well, good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News at 6 a.m. I'm Elise Snowy.
I'm Chris Warner. It's now Wednesday, September the 17th. Happy Wednesday, halfway through this work week. Again, we are now just over halfway through the month of September.
Certainly
slowly but surely inching closer to fall. It's really not feeling like it out there, but it will eventually arrive, and then all of a sudden we don't really have fall in the 4 states. It's going to go from 90s to like the 30s within 2 weeks' time. So, that is how it is. But not worried about the 30s right now, and not at least for a while. But we do have thunderstorm chances we're keeping an eye on. We're going to start with a live look outside downtown Pittsburgh, and there it is. And we're looking so far so good. We are currently dry in the area, but there's some things we're watching this morning and things we're watching later today. MoDOT camera 20th in range line looks good. So here's what we're watching this morning. So I just ran the update that came down on the expectations for all of this out here. And so what we've got, you can see this outflow boundary that stretches from northeast Kansas all the way back into north central Oklahoma. You can see it has triggered, when we put it in motion, you'll see this with certainty, these storms that have developed back behind it. In fact, this one is new down into north central Oklahoma. So we're watching that because this outflow boundary is slowly but surely inching closer to our area. And then we have this activity around Dodge City that's not supposed to be there. Now, with the update I just looked at, it shows this now, but also shows it vanishing because it hasn't determined what it's going to do next. So we'll watch that. But we also want to watch the outflow boundary because we could get additional development along this boundary, which is kind of what we're starting to see in spots. And if we do get storms, because by the way, that's not the expectation. The expectation is this activity lifts northeast and doesn't even come close. But if this outflow boundary can trigger some storms, then we could get a few this morning into our northwestern counties. If it does not, then this is what we're looking at. We will be dry until about 4 o'clock today, when we'll start to see opportunities for isolated to widely scattered pop-up showers and thunderstorms, and then eventually they'll increase in coverage and become scattered storms overnight tonight. And like what we saw yesterday, haven't really reminded you since June, but pop-up storms, even when we have no severe weather risk areas highlighted, which we didn't yesterday and we don't for today, they can occasionally reach low-grade severe status. So the big thing here is when thunder roars, head indoors. We're at 66, Joplin, Pittsburgh. Quick look at temperatures out there around the region. We've got mid-upper 60s for just about all of us. A little cooler in Veneta, though, sitting at 62. We'll be into the mid-60s as kids head out the door for school today. Partly cloudy by lunchtime, upper 80s, and we'll go low 90s when they come home today. Mid-70s by 9, upper 80s by noon, and our highs today into the low 90s. Well, now look at your forecast. Talk about our storm chances tonight and tomorrow and how the weekend shaping up here in just a few more minutes. Elise?
All right, Chris, thanks. So authorities in Crawford County bring charges against a mother and son following a stolen vehicle investigation. The charges stem from an incident that happened Monday morning when authorities responded to a crash at the intersection of Locust and Jefferson in Pittsburgh. The collision involved a Ford Fusion and a Toyota 4Runner. While authorities were investigating the crash, they received a call from a person claiming their coworker had stolen their Ford Fusion. That person, identified as Terrain Williams, as the thief. And when officers began questioning Williams about the theft, he took off on foot. The chase ended at a residence on East Adams Street, where Williams began to throw heavy objects at the officers. Williams also claimed to have a gun and threatened to shoot officers. His mother, Denise Kimball Hicks, then arrived on scene and moved toward officers, yelling at them. Officers told her numerous times to stay back, but Kimball Hicks refused. They then took her into custody. Williams also refused to surrender, leading officers to deploy a taser. Now, once tased, Williams was taken into custody. Authorities charged Kimball Hicks with interfering with a law enforcement officer. Authorities issued multiple charges against Williams, including criminal damage to property, interference with law enforcement, and use of a deadly weapon. Authorities respond to a two-vehicle crash on the Oklahoma-Missouri state line yesterday morning. The crash happened around 7:30. One vehicle rolled over onto the driver's side. The other vehicle ended up in the passing lane. Joplin police say one person suffered minor injuries. That individual was taken to an area hospital. Well, actor, director, and producer Robert Redford has died at the age of 89. Redford was one of the industry's most bankable leading men for half a century and one of the world's most recognizable and beloved movie stars. Redford made Hearts Beat Faster in romantic roles such as Out of Africa, got political in The Candidate and All the President's Men, and skewered his golden boy image in roles like the alcoholic ex-rodeo champ in The Electric Horseman and middle-aged billionaire in Indecent Proposal. He used the millions he made to launch the Sundance Institute and Festival in the 1970s, promoting independent filmmaking. Redford never won the Best Actor Oscar, but his first outing as a director, the 1980 family drama Ordinary People, won Oscars for Best Picture and Best Director. And that's a look at this morning's top stories and weather. Coming up on the KOAM Morning News, UN investigators find reasonable grounds that Israel committed 4 acts of genocide. Plus, score 1 for health checkups for Joplin Elementary students help medical students get a leg up on their education. And we're tracking scattered storms today. Chris has a look at our Wednesday forecast. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. Time now 6:06. We'll be right back. But first, here's a live look from Weir City Park. Well, topping World Watch, Israel says it has launched the main phase of its offensive to destroy Hamas and Gaza's largest city. Residents of Gaza City tell CBS News they're facing heavy and relentless bombings. The escalation comes as the United Nations panel levels new allegations of genocide, claims Israel strongly denies. CBS's Imtiaz Tayyab reports from London.
Israel's military has started what it's called the main step of its ground invasion of Gaza City, where entire neighborhoods have already been reduced to ruins, and hundreds of thousands of Palestinians have been forced to flee. It comes as Israeli leaders have reacted angrily to the UN Commission of Inquiry's genocide report, denouncing it as, quote, distorted and false.
The report relies entirely on Hamas falsehoods, laundered and repeated by others.
Investigators found, quote, reasonable grounds that Israel has committed 4 of the 5 acts of genocide under the 1948 UN Convention.
The goal of the Israeli government is abundantly clear as we continue to witness the destruction of Palestinians in Gaza. The Commission finds it is genocide.
The 4 acts Israel is accused of committing since the start of the war with Hamas following the brutal 2023 October 7th attacks include killing members of a group, causing them serious bodily and mental harm, deliberately inflicting conditions calculated to destroy the group, and preventing births. The report not only cites the pattern of conduct by Israeli forces as evidence of, quote, genocidal intent, but also the statements of Israeli leaders by alleging Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, President Isaac Herzog, and former Defense Minister Yoav Gallant have all, quote, incited the commission of genocide.
And a number of international and Israeli human rights groups and scholars have also accused Israel of genocide against Palestinians in Gaza. This while the International Court of Justice is hearing a case that accuses Israeli forces of genocide, a case Israel has called wholly unfounded and based on bias and false claims. Imtiaz Tayyab, CBS News, London.
And that's a look at World Watch this morning. Still to come, Noah Wiley wins his first Emmy for The Pit and heads back to Pittsburgh for season 2. Plus, we're tracking thunderstorms today. Chris returns with another look at today's forecast. Good morning, I'm Elise Noe with your KOAM News update. Police search for 2 men who assaulted swimmers at Palm de Tur Lake over the weekend. The suspect sent one victim to the hospital by helicopter. Now it's possible the PWCs that struck the victims may have damage on the hull from striking the bottom in shallow water. And a 2-vehicle crash shuts down the passing lane at the Oklahoma-Missouri state line yesterday morning. One person suffered minor injuries and was transported to an area hospital.
And we've got the opportunity for initially what will be pop-up storms after 4 o'clock today. Ahead of that, though, partly cloudy, dry, temperatures in the low 90s. These pop-up storms gradually increase in coverage and become scattered storms late this evening and into the overnight hours. And like what we saw yesterday, while we don't have any severe risk areas highlighted for today, and we didn't yesterday, we could still get a stronger low-grade severe thunderstorm from some of these pop-up storms. It's not a likely probability, but it's a possibility for sure. We'll be in the mid-60s overnight. Scattered storms will continue throughout the day on Thursday. They're not out of here until almost midnight. Upper 80s, low 80s Friday. Rain chances continuing into the upcoming weekend. Temperatures staying, unfortunately, above normal into the mid to upper 80s until next Friday, when we might actually get a little closer to normal, highs into the low 80s.
A love letter to Baltimore hits the big screen, and a first-time Emmy-winning actor gets back to work. Gwen Baumgartner has your Eye on Entertainment reports.
Actor Noah Wyle is back in Pittsburgh shooting the second season of the hit drama The Pit following his big night at the Emmy Awards.
Noah Wyle.
Wyle nabbed his first ever Emmy Sunday for Outstanding Lead Actor in a Drama Series for his work on the realistic medical series, while the show itself won for Outstanding Drama Series.
There was a real identification with these characters. Our job is just to say where would they be 10 months later and who are they now after what they've been through.
Season 2 of The Pit premieres in January of next year. Fresh off the surprise release of Swag 2, Justin Bieber is returning to the big stage at next year's Coachella Music Festival. The pop star was just announced as one of the headliners, along with Sabrina Carpenter and Karol G, a first for all three artists. Coachella kicks off next April in the California desert, but tickets go on sale Friday.
Open your mouth. Hello.
And a dental emergency on Christmas Eve leads to an unexpected adventure and romance in the indie rom-com The Baltimoreans.
I overheard you talking to your daughter, and I know you don't have plans. Let's go.
The film, directed by Jay Duplass, explores divorce, addiction, and redemption. It's loosely based on actor and comedian Michael Strassner's own sober journey.
A lot of the dialogue that we kind of found is stuff that I told Jay in a lunch, about how I got sober.
The Baltimoreans is in theaters now. That's your Eye on Entertainment. Gwen Baumgartner, CBS News, Los Angeles.
All right, a lot of exciting entertainment things coming up. Let's take it on over now to Chris for a quick look at your forecast.
Yeah, we got the possibility of some scattered showers and thunderstorms as we head through the afternoon, evening, and overnight hours. We'll break those chances down for you with a full look at your forecast, talk about tomorrow's rain chances and our weekend forecast when the KOAM Morning News returns. Time now is 6:16. We will be right back. Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News at 6:19 now on this Wednesday morning. We'll start with the fog tracker. As you can see, we've got some patchy fog out there. Parsons, Pittsburgh, Joplin, Carthage, Anderson, Grove, Veneta, all dealing with some reduced visibilities this morning. So as you're traveling, you'll at home know the drill here. Low beams, not your high beams, fog lights if you've got them. And of course, make sure you leave plenty of distance between you and the car ahead of you, and that you have plenty of time to get where you're going. All right, take a look at the Skywatch Storm Tracker. Again, for us, not anything at this time. We're keeping an eye on this outflow boundary, which has come off of this thunderstorm complex, and it's tried to trigger some storms along it, but it hasn't really done a terrific job of doing so, which is okay for the time being. But it's slowly inching closer to our area, and it could still potentially trigger some storms, or at least shower activity in our northwestern counties this morning. So we want to keep an eye on it. The other part that we're keeping an eye on, we got to drag this thing way back to the west here, and I'll tell you why. All of this around Dodge City, so from here down isn't supposed to be there, okay? And the reason I say that is it's one of those things where the computer data showed no thunderstorm activity down here. It showed this complex, showed it lifting northeast and missing us, but it did not show that activity. It's trying to catch up. I did look at the latest update that came out at 6. It's trying to catch up with that. It's showing that. It still shows it also kind of disappearing. And so it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. All of this, though, will eventually help set the stage for our thunderstorms later today. But you can see that outflow boundary pushing off of these storms. But everything that it's been developing so far that it's caused to reform is lifting north into this main complex. And so at this point, there's at least the possibility we could get some stray showers or storms in our northwestern counties this morning, in the next few hours, if that complex holds. Now, if it does what the computers think it will and begins to weaken and die, then what we're looking at is being partly cloudy and dry through the majority of the day. It won't be until about 4 o'clock we start to see opportunities for isolated to widely scattered pop-up showers and storms. And like yesterday, no severe risk areas were highlighted yesterday, not even the level 1 out of 5. And it's the same today, but pop-up storms can occasionally reach strong to low-grade severe status, and that's what we have with that storm fired up east of Joplin, pushed through Joplin. I was out there, it got really windy ahead of that thing, and then became low-grade severe into parts of Cherokee and Ottawa counties. So it's a possibility. The main thing to remember with thunderstorms, any thunderstorms, is when thunder roars, head indoors. Now, as we go overnight tonight, after about 11 o'clock midnight, we'll start to see more scattered shower and thunderstorm activity pushing through the area as we head into tomorrow morning. And you can see it's scattered, so some of you, it may stop raining for a little while, but we will continue with scattered storm chances through the morning into the afternoon. By noon is one of our best peaks of scattered storms across the area. And then we have some slightly bigger thunderstorms. Still no severe risk areas highlighted for even tomorrow at this point. But we do have those thunderstorms that'll be pushing through, and it won't be until late Thursday night that they begin to exit the area. By 9, they're really into Missouri and Arkansas, and then after about midnight, they are on their way out. So a lot to watch over the next few days. Again, no severe risk areas highlighted, but certainly want to keep an eye to the sky. All right, partly cloudy skies through the morning, near 70 to start, mid-80s by 11 o'clock. We're looking at highs today into the low to mid-90s out there. We'll go upper 80s tomorrow with the rain chances, low 80s, so close to normal Friday, and our scattered storm chances will continue into the upcoming weekend, as do the above normal temperatures. That is a check of your forecast. We're going to send it over to Elise now with Health Watch.
All right, Chris, thanks. Well, young students become patients for a day as Joplin 5th graders help train the next generation of doctors at KCU Med. Now, the students are on the campus of KCU Med in Joplin for Score 1 for Health. They're getting a full head-to-toe checkup. Now, this checkup is performed by second-year medical students and second-year dental students. The med and dental students are looking for any abnormalities. The process gives them a chance to examine a live human. Losing weight through exercise may be better for cardiovascular health than losing weight with medications. A University of Copenhagen study found that people who maintained their weight loss through regular exercise reduce their development of atherosclerosis, which is a leading cause of heart attack and strokes. Researchers say the weight loss drugs called GLP-1s also reduce the risk of cardiovascular disease, but exercise is vital to maintain the health benefits of weight loss. Well, taking opioids for pain during pregnancy likely does not raise the risk of autism and ADHD in children later in life. A Swedish study of more than 1 million children found there's little evidence to the claim opioid use by expecting mothers can cause ADHD or autism in their unborn children. The study's authors say more research is needed on whether extremely high doses of opioids can cause neurodevelopmental conditions. A new study uncovers a link between problems gambling and suicide in young people. Research by the University of Bristol found among 20-year-olds, problem gamblers had quadruple the risk of attempting suicide compared to people who don't gamble. With gambling more accessible than ever before, researchers say more needs to be done to prevent young people from gambling addiction. And a growing number of American parents are becoming more skeptical about vaccinating their children against some diseases. That's according to a poll conducted by the Washington Post and health researchers at KFF. Excluding vaccines for COVID and flu, it found 1 in 6 parents had skipped polio or MMR vaccines, which protect against measles, mumps, and rubella for their kids. Those parents cited concerns about side effects and perceived risk from the shots themselves.
When it's public health policy, we have people who have been doing research in vaccines for years and years. And yes, you can question science. I'm all about questioning science. But these vaccines have been used for years.
Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr., a vaccine skeptic, has continued to raise doubts about vaccine safety and effectiveness. His revamped CDC advisory panel is set to meet later this week to make recommendations for who should get COVID shots. Well, there's a new study out on medications used to treat the symptoms of menopause. As CBS's Nikki Batiste reports, it could help women weighing the benefits against the risk.
This is my best friend. It's my fan.
Hot flashes.
It's called Fanny.
And sleepless nights are disrupting Isabel Kalman's life.
I keep her in my bag and just to cool myself off when I need to.
At 53, Kalman's symptoms are part of perimenopause, the phase before menopause when a woman's hormones start to decline. The most common medication is hormone therapy, which uses estrogen and, if needed, a progestin to alleviate symptoms.
Are you considering it?
I am. I've been on the fence about it.
Many women have been wary of the treatment because they were concerned it would increase the chances of breast cancer. The FDA has long mandated so-called black box labels on the medication, warnings about stroke, blood clots, dementia, and breast cancer. But the FDA is now considering removing some of those warnings.
This is a public health priority, and this is a sign that the FDA sees that.
Dr. Mary Rosser has been Kalman's doctor for 5 years.
Is the fear of the risk of breast cancer fair?
It's been overblown.
Dr. Rosser believes flawed research from about 20 years ago overstated the risks of breast cancer because that study focused on older women. As today's new study shows, timing matters. A woman's age when she begins hormone therapy, along with dose and delivery method, can substantially mitigate risks.
Generally, when would a woman begin hormone therapy?
So we have said to begin as close to the final menstrual period, and then you continue until about the age of 60.
Insomnia is not as bad as it used to be, but
Dr. Rosser spent the past 9 months working through the risks and benefits with Kalman, who has a family history of breast cancer. She says she's still hesitant, but she realizes hormone therapy may be her best chance at relief.
I'm hoping, even if I do it only for like a year or two, that there is an option for me that can help me in the short term.
Nikki Batiste, CBS News, New York.
And that's a look at some of today's top health stories. We'll be right back. Right now at 6:30, a mayor fights back against impeachment with a petition for judicial review.
And we're tracking thunderstorms, keeping an eye on these ones to our west. More storm chances, though, later today. Look at your forecast coming up.
Plus, visitors headed to Branson might want to look for alternative routes due to bridge construction.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Well, good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News at 6:31. I'm Elise Snowy.
I'm Chris Warner. It is Wednesday, September the 17th, halfway through this work week, inching closer to the weekend.
Yes,
and we're going to get there together. And then we'll part and go our separate ways and enjoy and rejoin you here Monday. But we still have a couple more weekdays to get through. Still got some rain chances we've got to get through as well. We're going to start talking about all of that now with a live look from outside downtown Pittsburgh, where things are looking pretty good so far. Skies are clear. We've got some partly cloudy skies here and there, and we're also keeping an eye on some thunderstorms off to our west, which we'll talk about. MoDOT camera 20th and range line is looking good as well this morning. So here is the Skywatch storm tracker. Again, nothing in our immediate area, and it's a lot easier for me to just do and drag this thing over here on the computer. There we go. That's a lot easier. Okay, so here's what we've got taking place. We have these thunderstorms out to our west, obviously well to our west, but we've got a couple of features we're watching. One, it's starting to dissipate a bit, but if you look right through here, you can see an outflow boundary that's come off of this complex of showers and storms. It has been triggering new development right immediately behind it, all the way down, even earlier, back into north central Oklahoma. Another thing we're watching is basically this section, let's say just south of the I-70 corridor, almost all of this wasn't supposed to be there. It's still not supposed to be there, believe it or not. The computer data shows it in the latest updates, but then when you advance it 1 hour forward, it vanishes because the computers don't know what it's going to do. And so we'll keep an eye on that. We've got this activity and the outflow boundary. It's one of those things the computers that you can't pick up on that. They're random on whether or not storm systems and complexes will generate them. So the reason we want to watch it is you see it's developing storms behind it. Now, so far what's developed behind it's lifting to the north, but you can also see it's progressively inching closer to us. So while this complex is expected to miss us, we could get some showers or thunderstorms into our northwestern counties this morning if that outflow boundary makes it all the way down here. Otherwise, we are looking at partly cloudy skies. It won't be until about 4 that we initially start with some isolated pop-up storm chances. And as we go through the evening, we get scattered pop-up storms. And then overnight tonight, we just get some scattered showers and storms. We're at 66 in Joplin, 64 in Pittsburgh, and across the area, temperatures looking like this. Most of us mid-upper 60s out there. Stockton, the warm spot right now at 68 degrees. Parsons is the cool spot at 62. Kids getting on the bus are heading out the door this morning. Mid-60s, dry, or at least we should be. We'll keep an eye on those storms to the west. Upper 80s by lunch and recess time. Low 90s when they head home. It's looking like our forecast here. Mid-70s by 9. Upper 80s by noon. Low 90s for our highs. And like yesterday too, we had no severe risk areas highlighted yesterday. Not even the level 1 out of 5 risk. We don't have it today, but as we saw with that one storm, they can occasionally become strong to low-grade severe, so we'll watch out for that. And of course, a big thing, remember, when thunder roars, head indoors. We're going to talk more about our storm chances that are building in overnight tonight through our Thursday here in just a few more minutes. Elise?
All right, Chris, thanks. Well, members of the Carl Junction City Council met again last night, but this time in a closed session to discuss the vacant mayor seat and legal matters with their attorneys. In August, after hearing intense testimonies from city employees about alleged workplace harassment, the Board of Aldermen voted to impeach Mayor Mike Moss and remove him from office. The mayor has since fought back, filing a petition for judicial review. Mayor Pro Tempore Holly Levine confirmed after last night's closed session meeting that no votes were taken during their private discussion. A statement from the city's attorney also indicates the council cannot move forward with appointing a new mayor just yet. The attorney called last night's special meeting to fill the vacancy premature while the impeachment process is still ongoing. The McEwen Brooks Healthcare Foundation and Here for Carthage break ground on the Colpin Family Pavilion, the future home of the Carthage Farmers Market and a new community gathering space. Yesterday morning, the community gathered to celebrate the project, which is funded through major gifts from local foundations and trusts. Organizers say it will provide a permanent venue for farmers, families, and community events. A traffic alert if you're headed to Branson. MoDOT is working on 2 busy bridges over Lake Taneycomo. One project kicked off this week. The second gets underway next week. More details from Adam Woodbray.
2 busy bridges in Branson getting a facelift. This is all part of a $2.2 million project across the area. These 2, spanning Lake Taneycomo, are getting rehabilitated. The first part closed the Branson Landing Boulevard Bridge on Monday while crews resurfaced the roadway and traffic was flowing again on Tuesday. Work on the upper bridge, the Business 65, will kick off on Monday, and that work isn't slated to be finished until mid-November.
It's also getting substructure and superstructure repair, which is kind of like changing the oil in a car, right? It's preventative maintenance so that the roadway doesn't deteriorate any worse, right? So the bridge is in good condition.
According to MoDOT, during the first 30 days, there should be little to no impact for drivers as the contractor will mainly be working below the bridge. That part is expected to wrap up around October 17th. Then the bridge will shut down completely for the next month.
We have a lot of traffic out front every day, so I'm sure they'll do their best, just like they did in the downtown area with that being shut down.
Kirsten Pollard's office is right by the bridge. She says she saw an impact with Monday's closure.
It did for some of my employees. She took about 15 minutes to get here just because of traffic being shut down. So it does affect our commute in the morning, but I don't know how much it's going to affect our clients.
I'm usually first knowledge because I can have a direct line of sight out the window almost to see when the traffic slows down or backs up like that, absolutely.
Jamie Bacon also works right by the bridge. He says most of his business is done online now, so it won't impact him too much, but he recognizes it's a popular route for drivers.
And I personally, if I was having to deal with that, I would look for alternate routes to get from, where I needed to go to minimize the traffic.
Now, MoDOT says there will be a signed detour along Route 65 and Business 65. Again, the work on the upper bridge begins on Monday. And that's a look at our top news stories coming up this half hour on the KOAM Morning News. An anticipated rate drop has many aspiring homeowners in the area wondering if now is the time to buy. We have some expert advice. Plus, back to school shopping drives retail sales up 0.6% in August. We'll have the latest. Time now, 6:38. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. We'll be right back, but first, here's a live look from Weir City Park. In Consumer Watch, President Trump has taken executive action for a fourth time to extend the deadline for TikTok's U.S. operations to find a new owner. Now, that new deadline now pushed to mid-December. The president signed the order on the heels of the Treasury Department's announcement that U.S. and Chinese negotiators had agreed to a framework on the popular app's ownership. President Trump says he plans to speak with Chinese President Xi Jinping this Friday to firm everything up. Sources tell CBS News that tech giant Oracle and investment firm Silver Lake will play a role in companies that will allow TikTok to keep operating in the U.S. Oracle founder and chairman is Larry Ellison, father to David Ellison, chairman and CEO of Paramount, a Skydance corporation, which is the parent company of CBS. Well, back to school shopping helped boost retail sales by 0.6% in August compared to July, according to the latest Commerce Department report. And that's the third straight month of gains following sales declines in April and May. And Target is expanding its next day delivery by the end of the month, adding 35 additional cities across the U.S., including Cleveland, Orlando, San Diego, and St. Louis. It's part of Target's strategy to compete with rivals Amazon and Walmart. Target says it plans to add another 20 cities next year. The Federal Reserve is expected to cut its benchmark interest rates tomorrow. Now, this will be the first interest rate cut since December. You might be asking, what does this mean for mortgage rates? Well, experts tell us not much. It's a misconception that mortgage rates will drop. Tomorrow's rate decision has more of a trickle-down effect on your credit card payments, car payments, and equity lines of credit.
For instance, if you came into the bank, you needed to borrow money, we borrow at X amount. And then, if they lower that Fed funds rate, then that just allows us to lower the amount to you when it comes to borrowing.
Now, lenders also say if you're in the market to buy or sell a home, never wait around on interest rates. They go up and down. Make big investment decisions should be based on your budget and income. Well, new test results from the Insurance Institute for Highway Safety show bigger isn't always better. 7 electric vehicles were put to the test to see how they perform in collisions and avoiding pedestrians. Chris Van Cleave has the results.
In tests simulating a crash between vehicles traveling in opposite directions at 40 miles an hour, 4 of the 7 vehicles tested, the BMW i4, Chevy Blazer EV, Tesla Cybertruck, and Volkswagen ID Buzz, earned good ratings. The Tesla Model 3 earned a passing acceptable, but 2 have room to improve. The Nissan Ariya SUV rated marginal because the Insurance Institute for Highway Safety injury metrics showed a high risk of chest injuries to backseat passengers. And the Ford F-150 Lightning earned the lowest score, a poor rating, because the rear-seated dummy showed a high risk of chest, head, or neck injuries, and that dummy's lap belt moved from the ideal position on the pelvis onto the abdomen.
That is not something we want to see in any crash.
IIHS Vice President Raul Arbelais.
The common sensibility is a big vehicle like a full-size pickup should do well in a crash.
Most people think bigger is better, heavier is better, and certainly we had that with the Ford F-150 Lightning. The vehicle structurally holds up really well in this crash, but fell short in protecting the rear seat position.
IIHS also looked at pedestrian crash avoidance technology, and most performed well. The BMW, Ford, and Tesla models all scored top marks, joining the Ariya with good ratings. When it came to headlights, 5 of the 7 earned acceptable ratings, but both the BMW sedan and the Cybertruck had some lights earning a poor rating. Automakers, including Nissan, say they are evaluating the results and will continue to work with IIHS in all matters related to customer safety. Ford adds safety is a top priority. We are always working to continuously improve. Chris Van Cleve, CBS News, Los Angeles.
Now, for more on what the automakers say about these results, you can go to cbsnews.com. And that's a look at Consumer Watch. Let's take it over now to Chris for a quick look.
Yeah, we've got the opportunity for some pop-up storms later today, becoming scattered storms late this evening into the overnight hours. Break down those details when the KOAM Morning News returns. We'll also have birthdays and anniversaries right after this. Time now, 6:45. All right, time for some Wednesday birthdays in the 4 states, and we are starting in Pittsburgh with Jensen Lawless celebrating birthday number 4. Happy birthday.
And in Jasper, a happy 12th birthday to McKenna Jennings.
And in Seneca, Lakin Schulte celebrating birthday number 13 today. Happy birthday.
In Altamont, a happy 14th birthday to Tinley Janae Thompson. It says here, love Mimi and Papa.
And Chad Harris in Jasper celebrating birthday number 48. Happy birthday.
And happy 50th birthday to Jared Pyle in Frontenac. It says, have a great day. Love your family.
And Ralph Reed celebrating birthday number 76 says happy birthday from your wife and church family.
And in Chetopa, a happy 48th anniversary to Ken and Bonnie Feist.
And Gary Shaw in Joplin celebrating a birthday. Now, he's a former mayor, he's a councilman. I've known him for a long, long time. He is honestly, from what I've gathered, one of the kindest human beings on the face of the planet. And husbands, if you want to know how to take care of your wives, just watch Gary Shaw. An incredible man and an incredible milestone. Very happy birthday to you, Gary.
And continuing our list over in Coffeyville, the happy 19th birthday to Timothy Hayes. It says, we love you, Mom Sapphire, Charisma, Bella, Nana, and family.
And in Iola, Hayden Otten celebrating birthday number 19 with love from Grandma, Papa, and the rest of the family.
And Stan and Iola with a happy 12th anniversary to Joe and Tammy Creviston.
And we're going to head down to Riverton for Steve and Susie Barnes celebrating their 50th anniversary. A very happy anniversary and happy birthday to all of you on our list. And all right, time for some Wednesday birthdays in the 4 states, and we are starting in Pittsburgh with Jensen Lawless celebrating birthday number 4. Happy birthday.
And in Jasper, a happy 12th birthday to McKenna Jennings.
And in Seneca, Lakin Schulte celebrating birthday number 13 today. Happy birthday.
In Altamont, a happy 14th birthday to Tinley Janae Thompson. It says here, love Mimi and Papa.
And Chad Harris in Jasper celebrating birthday number 48. Happy birthday.
And happy 50th birthday to Jared Pyle in Frontenac. It says, have a great day. Love your family.
And Ralph Reed celebrating birthday number 76 says happy birthday from your wife and church family.
And in Chetopa, a happy 48th anniversary to Ken and Bonnie Feist.
And Gary Shaw in Joplin celebrating a birthday. Now, he's a former mayor, he's a councilman. I've known him for a long, long time. He is honestly, from what I've gathered, one of the kindest human beings on the face of the planet. And husbands, if you want to know how to take care of your wives, just watch Gary Shaw. An incredible man and an incredible milestone. A very happy birthday to you, Gary.
And continuing our list over in Coffeyville, the happy 19th birthday to Timothy Hayes. It says, we love you, Mom Sapphire, Charisma, Bella, Nana, and family.
And in Iola, Hayden Otten celebrating birthday number 19 with love from Grandma, Papa, and the rest of the family.
And Stan and Iola with a happy 12th anniversary to Joe and Tammy Creviston.
And we're going to head down to Riverton for Steve and Susie Barnes celebrating their 50th anniversary. A very happy anniversary and happy birthday to all of you on our list. And we do sincerely love celebrating these and reading your special messages. And Elise has some information you need to jot down if you would like to celebrate with us.
Yes, please submit your birthdays and anniversaries to birthdays@KOAMNewsNow.com. Be sure to meet the deadline that you see there at the bottom of your screen. And also, please include the date of your celebration when submitting as well.
Of course, very important information there. And I've got some very important weather information to share with you all this morning. First, starting with the fog tracker. We've got some decently reduced visibilities now. We're talking Anderson, Grove, Parsons, Pittsburgh, all under 3 miles. Nowata, Veneta, Joplin, Carthage, also reporting in Fredonia, Nevada, Stockton, all reporting some reduced visibilities out there. So you know the drill. Low beams, not your high beams. Fog lights if you've got them, and give yourself time to get where you're going. Okay, that's where it gets interesting this morning. We have this complex of showers and storms. Now, the data this morning indicated, let me get this in the right spot here. It's an interesting situation. The data this morning has continued to show that the bulk of this, say from right where it says Hutch or even Hut on Hutchinson, this was on the model data this morning, and it was going to lift off to the northeast. It wasn't going to really hit us that much. We might get a shower possibly northwest of Burlington from it. That was what was the expectation. But what we've had is an outflow boundary, which is now beginning to kind of break apart. You can see the remnants of it down here south of Wichita. We had an outflow boundary off of this line, which has triggered new development back behind the outflow boundary. But most of that, if not all of it almost, is lifting to the north, joining this line, which is lifting to the northeast. Then, that's pretty far west, so a lot can change between here and there. But then we have this, and from here-ish down, none of this has been showing up on any of the computer data. In fact, the updates that it runs will load up. They basically start with the current radar image and then run the forecast on what's going to happen. So it loads up with what you see here, and then when you move to the next hour, this disappears because the computer doesn't know what it's going to do, because it's not supposed to be there. Computers are only so smart, and then sometimes they're going to make mistakes or they're not going to know. And this is one of those cases. Now, that's well to our west. We'll have to just kind of play it by ear and see how all this pans out. You see, there's the outflow boundary. It came up, and then you get these little scattered storms that have developed behind that outflow boundary. And so, again, they're lifting north. We should be dry to the majority of the day, but we still want to watch this activity and see if any of it, like what's taking place here, hangs on and maybe moves into our far western counties through the morning hours. So we'll keep an eye on that. Otherwise, partly cloudy, dry until about 4 o'clock, and we'll start to get isolated to widely scattered pop-up storms. And then once we head after 11 o'clock midnight, we start seeing an increase in scattered thunderstorm coverage. Now, again, not everybody's getting rain all at once, but we'll have scattered storms heading into our morning drive tomorrow, and these scattered showers and storms will continue through the majority of the day on Thursday. Even by 5, still dealing with those out there. By 9, bulk of the activity east of 69, and once we get after midnight, it clears on out of here. So we've got some much needed rain on the way. Unfortunately, doesn't do a lot for our temperatures, but at least we're getting some rain. We're going to have another look at your forecast and your wake up recap in just a moment. And when we transition to Fox 14 at 7 a.m., you hang out with us here on KOAM Plus. Ty Parks taking a look at Score One's health screenings for medical students in Joplin.
Well, this is your wake up recap for September 17th. Your top stories to start your day. A 2-vehicle crash shut down the passing lane at the Oklahoma-Missouri state line yesterday morning. One person suffered minor injuries and was transported to an area hospital. A police search for 2 men who assaulted swimmers at Pomme de Terre Lake over the weekend. The suspect sent one victim to the hospital by helicopter. It's possible the PWCs that struck the victims may have damage on the hull from striking the bottom in shallow water. And 21-year-old Dre Reed's body was found hanging from a tree on Delta Date campus Monday morning. Police claim there are no signs of foul play and no reason to believe there's a threat to the campus. Reed's family is pushing for an investigation. That's a check of today's Wake Up Recap.
And we've got pop-up storms building in after 4 today. And like yesterday, while we have no severe risk areas highlighted, sometimes those pop-up storms can get just enough energy to them that they can reach low-grade severe status, which is what we saw. We have no severe risk areas highlighted today, but it's still a remote possibility. The main thing to remember with any thunderstorms, When thunder roars, head indoors. We're heading for highs in the low 90s. As we head through the late evening and overnight hours, storms will become scattered, so more rain out there for us, back into the mid 60s, and scattered storms throughout virtually the entire day on Thursday. They won't be completely out of our area until about 11 o'clock midnight tomorrow. Still upper 80s, low 80s Friday. Rain chances continuing through next Monday.
All right, and coming up today at noon, we're making a Parmesan onion board in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen.
And your morning news continues on KOAM with CBS Mornings. Best-selling author Angie Thomas is live in the studio to talk about her highly anticipated new fantasy novel.
Or you can switch on over with us on Fox 14, where your only local morning news continues. This morning, a look inside a dating event that uses PowerPoint to pitch love.
Plus, Joplin area Catholic schools are hosting open houses. We'll have all details for prospective families. However, it's going to wrap it up for us for now. We'll be back here tomorrow morning at 5 a.m.
And we'll see you today at noon.